Hi, welcome back to Danny Harris Arts. In this segment, I'm going to be carving a crawfish. I've got several photos printed out here. I'm going to carve him in this little defensive position here because the bass is going to be coming down, about to eat him, so the crawfish is ready for him. I've also got a ton of reference photos on my cell phone that I'll be referring to as well. The only thing is, I don't know what I'm doing because I have no clue what I'm going to do for the legs or the little bumps on the armor that they have, little spikes, or the antenna. So if you've ever carved one before, let me know in the comment section what you did for antenna and how you attach the legs, and send me some pictures, email me some pictures, and show me what you've done. I'd really appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to do this all-inclusive project. I'll probably just get it carved and then on this segment, and then paint it on another segment. So again, if you got any tips or tricks, leave them for me in the comment section below. I'd appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing and hit that thumbs up button if you like these videos. So I'm going to get this camera turned around here and get started on this. So I've only got the pattern drawn on one side here and on the top. I don't have anything on the bottom, so I think I'm going to start on this side, taking this down, and then work on the relief from the front and underneath, and then finally start on this side, bringing it down. So let me get started here. You know what? I think I need my coarse one on there. I was thinking that would go a little quicker than that, but oh yeah, much better. Alright, so I'm gonna draw on, I got some picture here, and I'm gonna draw in these segments here at the base of the legs, because I'm thinking I may carve the legs and claws separate and then use a pin and drill a little hole in the legs and glue them, epoxy them into the first segments that I'll carve the first segments of the leg. See if I can get this up here where you can see it. So I'm going to carve this first segment at the base of the leg in here. Alright, so I've got 8 legs and 2 claws. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4. Segments. Alright. So that's the detail drawn in that I'm going to try to carve out into these little segments here. Alright, let's get started on that. I've got a creek just about 30 yards that way. It's full of crawfish. I could probably go catch one and have me a live reference. Water's too cold though. I'm not going to do that. Alright, so I'm trying to work out how I want the legs here. Like I say, I want him, he's going to be raised up a little bit. I'm going to pretend this is a rock or a log. And he's going to be raised up on his hind tail in a defensive mode. Kind of like this guy right here. So the front 2 legs won't be touching the ground. The front claws will be raised up. Get this up here where you can see it. So I'm gonna go. I think my plan is to have the front claws raised up in defensive like this. The first 2 front legs will be raised up a little bit, and then the other 3 legs on both sides will be touching the ground. So what I've done here is got me a piece here, and I'm watching the grain. Also, after looking at it for a few days, I don't like his tail. It's too narrow, stubby. So I'm going to cut it off about this first segment right here. And I've cut me another piece. It's not going to be that big. I've left me room, but so I'm going to carve another tail and then just cut it off flush there and glue it on. And then once I sand it and carve it, the seam won't be in paint. The seam won't be seen. So what I'm doing here, laying out how I want the legs to be done, laid out. And actually, I don't know what so I'm just kind of winging it right now. So this guy, these two legs will be out more. So I think I've never really paid any attention to it, but the front two legs, not counting the claws, I have to do them on a separate piece of wood, but the front two legs have a little mini claw on it, kind of. They're actually grabbers. So these front two and then the second set back here also have them. And then the back two come to just a point. That's what I'm seeing here. So, all right, so I've got the new tail made, drawn out, and I've cut the old one off. And you can see the difference here. Get this down here where you can see it. This is the old tail. And this is the new tail, much better. Get it trimmed down here. Start fitting it back on. I'll cut it off. I'll have to cut it off right here to fit it back on. Alright, that's much better. Much better than this one. I'm going to draw the detail on, like where the under the structure of the tail fins underneath, but it's not going to be seen. But I'm going to carve it in anyway. Like I say, this is going to be. Pretend this is a rock or a piece of a log. He'll be up high enough, and the tail's going to be down on, kind of positioning himself, so the detail under here is not going to be seen. But just because I'm OCD, I'm going to put it on there. Forgot to push record, gluing it back on there, but it's glued on. So I've redrawn the pattern on, and I'm just going through now and cutting the detail back underneath here. I say this isn't going to show down here, but I want to put it in there anyway because I'll take pictures of it and I'll show the underneath of it. And this will help me remember next time. Next time I carve one, since this is my first one, I'm making all kinds of mistakes, I'm sure. So I'll be able to refer back to it and look. All right, I'm gonna play with making one of these antenna and see how that's gonna work. So I'm just straightening that paper clip out there. I'm just tapering it down to like a needle point, like the antenna would be. That'll probably work. I don't want to go much faster than that because it'll fling off. Don't laugh at me, I'm look at there. Oh. All right, Cracky, I think that's going to work. Just up here where you can see this. And I have an antenna. Except I was going to use this lighter thread to make it look like the segments is in it, but you probably can't tell it on camera, but with that thread wrapped around it, it looks like segments already. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give this a little natural organic bend here. And I got myself an antenna. Not quite as thin as I'd like it to be, but I think it's gonna be fine. Did I invent something here? I knew the way to make an antenna for a crawfish. All right, let me do the other one. I'll do the other one off camera. You can see them both. I think that's gonna work. I'm excited about that. I'll leave a little bit of piece of it out here when I get ready to attach it here. I'll drill it a little tiny hole and glue that in. All right, that's gonna work. And there you have it. You can tell it's a little thicker here and it tapers down to the end. There you go. I think it's gonna work. Did I invent something? A new technique? All right, so I'm gonna work on the legs, getting these legs shaped up here. I'm gonna get some stuff changed out, and then I need to figure out how to attach them to the base. All right, so I'm gonna work on these legs now. I'm just gonna take this little inverted cone and just start rounding off the corners here. Start thinking about where they're going to attach here, or how they're going to attach. It's gonna take a while to get these legs the way I want them. I'm just gonna kind of show you how I'm doing it. You can kind of see it starting to shape up there. All right, so now I'm going to take this little cone-shaped diamond burr here. I'm just going over all these joints, thinning them down, kind of smoothing them out. Just making the legs a little thinner. They were just a little too fat, but I don't want to go too thin on them, because then it's going to be too fragile. I probably could have made these out of copper or something, but then it wouldn't be wood carving now, would it? Alright, crawfish legs. Now I just need to work on the claws. Alright, so I started working on the claws here, and I didn't like the way they were too short and they weren't wide enough. When a crawfish is in a defensive mode, they stand out wide. I mean, he's ready to go. And I didn't quite get these wide enough, and they're too short. So I cut me a new set, drew them out, made them to where once I carve them down, they'll be in a wider defensive mode. One will be kind of turned in and one's going to be up. So they're not going to be both exactly the same. So anyway, I'm going to get started on those. So I'm just going to take them down. Get the edges roughed off. Alright, I got the segments mostly done. I still need to detail them a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half so I can detail the ends of the claws here where they will attach to the body here. So one of them will be more out and up or spread. So I get this in there, we can kind of see how I've got. So he'll be up. Does that make sense? I know I've seen them do that before when I'm trying to catch them in the creek. They'll rear up and bring them claws up to intimidate you. So that's going to be the trick. Alright, that's better. Now I got to establish the leg, the tallest leg. Which will have him up in his up position. So which I think is going to be this rear leg here. I'll get around here, you can see what I'm doing. So this rear leg will have him up. Like that. I know you can't see my hands in the way here. So these third and back legs will be what's holding him up. Alright, so I got all the legs glued on, antennas and the eyes. I'll get up here where you can see it a little bit closer. I experimented here with some UV resin to make the little bumps and knots and spikes, but it's just not doing what I wanted it to, so I think I'm going to have to experiment with some silicone like I had initially thought I would. Let's see if I can get it to set up right. It became a little top heavy, but that's the way it will be posting in a defensive mode. Antennas are nice and sturdy. Don't have to worry about them breaking off. So all I got to do now is put the silicone on and paint it, and I'll show you some of the silicone. I'm going to experiment on a piece here first and see how it does. I may have to come up with something else, but on a crawfish, the back has just tons of little texture. It's textured on the claws. There's little spikes and stuff on them that I'm gonna have to figure out how to get on there. So if y'all have any ideas, leave them for me in the comment section below. That'd be great. By the time you see the video, I would have figured it out, but if you got an idea, that's better than silicone. I tried, I don't know if you can see it or not, I've got some little tiny diamond bits that are cupped, and I tried putting the texture in on there with that, but it doesn't, it just looks too much like little circles. It doesn't look like bumps. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use, say I'm probably just going to use silicone. I made the eyes, so the little eyeballs on the little stems, I made that out of epoxy sculpt on my last, when I was doing the fins on the fish. Went ahead and made the eyes for that. And there's little spinnerets that go on the bottom here that they use for swimming and holding their eggs with, but I don't think it's going to show enough under there, so I'm not going to bother with putting those on. I put a little texture, a little detail there on the, you're going to see most of it, you're going to see is from the side. It'll be from this side because the bass will be up pointing down at him, ready to get him. This is the fish. Looks kind of like a fish, but he'll be down contemplating on eating him. Alright, so I'm going to stop there for now and experiment with putting the silicone ridges and bumps and spikes on it and see how that works. Alright, that's going to be it for this crawfish wood carving project. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments about it, you can leave them for me in the comment section below, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Being as it's the first time I've ever carved a crawfish, you might learn more from the mistakes I made than what I can help you with on an answer or a question. But again, I appreciate you watching and following along. I wanted to paint it in this segment, but the video was running a little bit long, so I cut it up into 2 segments. Part 2 will be coming up here real soon on painting it and mounting it to the habitat base. And if you're following along, I've got a twin bass wood carving project that I've been working on, and I'm getting ready to paint the largemouth, and it'll go on this habitat base with this crawfish. So, and I'll show that when I get ready to do the bass. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing and hit that thumbs up if you like these videos, and be sure to hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of future projects.